Welcome friends, I am Dr. Sneh Bansal, Principal, Chandigarh College of Education, Landra, Mohali. This is my second lecture on Bloom's taxonomy. In my first lecture, I have gave you the conceptual framework of what is Bloom taxonomy, and I have talked of two dimensional which are given by Bloom. Okay, so if you remember in our first session, we have talked of 6 levels of learning which the Bloom has given us, from the lower order thinking skills to the higher order thinking skill, and we have also discussed about the knowledge dimension. So the knowledge which has started from concrete level of knowledge and then moved to the abstract level of knowledge. So just to recall, so we have talked of 6 level of learning: remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and then creating. Right? So these were the 6 levels of learning. Then we have talked about the knowledge dimension. So knowledge is something which the student will acquire or which the student will possess after completion of a particular subject or a course or a topic, right? So what were those knowledge level? That was, first was factual, then conceptual, third was procedural, last one was metacognitive, right? So when we will talk of the level of learning, we have just discussed, like, as we move towards this, like from remembering to creating, the order of thinking, or what I say, the level of learning will increases. Remembering, the child is at the lower order thinking skill, right? From remembering, understanding and applying, and the moment the child moves to analyzing, evaluating and creating, higher order thinking skills develop. So you need to understand this, like in which level of learning I am taking my learners towards. Then is the knowledge. So knowledge, again, if you see, factual, conceptual, procedural and metacognition. Here again we are moving from concrete knowledge to abstract knowledge, right? So this was the things which we have discussed in our previous lecture. And if you remember, I also gave you an overview, like Bloom taxonomy is something which is an aid for learning activities or the educational activities as well as an assessment. So in this session we will going to in fact apply the knowledge, apply the conceptual understanding of Bloom's taxonomy in our education, right? So moving towards that, yes, we have also talked about learning outcome. So learning outcome, I just mentioned you something which are measurable in term, something which are well defined, right? And most interesting part of the Bloom which was given was the action word, which was related to different levels of learning, and that action verb help us to frame the learning outcome in a measurable and well defined way. So now I'm going to take you towards how in your subject, in your course, in your topic, you're going to frame the learning outcome based on that 6 levels of learning and what type of knowledge your students will going to acquire if you're going to. So now first of all, more specifically, we need to understand what are the learning outcome of this session, because I think this will also going to give an overview to all of you how to frame the learning outcome. See how I have framed the learning outcome for this session. Make use of the revised Bloom taxonomy to plan learning outcomes in their discipline. Second, judge the effectiveness of writing learning outcomes using cognitive domain of revised Bloom's taxonomy. Then, design a classification scheme for writing learning outcomes that combine cognitive process and knowledge dimension of cognitive domain. So these are the few learning outcome of this particular session. Fine. So we're going to start with how you will going to frame your learning outcome for your particular subject, for your particular course. Here on this slide you can see I have taken an example. If you are taking a course of research for your student, and the course name is Responsible Conduct of Research. So for this course, how you will going to frame learning outcomes, so that by the end you shall able to know at what level of learning my students has reached, as well as what kind of knowledge my child is demonstrating or my students are demonstrating. If I will say, if I'm going to make this kind of learning outcome, by the end of this course, students will have added to their understanding of the complete research process. Just let me know, like if I'm going to write this kind of learning outcome, are you able to measure this, or can you tell me what type of learning level or knowledge child is demonstrating? No, we cannot come out with any kind of assessment from such kind of learning outcome, right? So how as an educator we going to frame learning outcome? This way. Okay, I'm going to make you understand one by one. Like more precise, if I'm teaching a subject name Responsible Conduct of Research to my students, how I'm going to frame learning outcome for this particular course. So more precisely, if I'll say by the end of this course, students will able to describe the research process in social intervention. First, if you just have a look on this particular learning outcome, here the word describe comes in, and if you going to just revise or recall the action verb which was being associated with different levels of learning, you get to know that this describe what was something which assess the remember level of learning, or which comes under the remember thinking skill. So when I use the word describe, it is nothing but using the remember level of learning, right? And when I say describe the research process in social intervention, here I'm going to use my conceptual knowledge. I am here going to construct my idea, as well as I'm going to classify and categorize something. Yeah, so describe the research process in social intervention, that comes to your conceptual knowledge. So here my first learning outcome, that is describe the research process in learning intervention, will going to give me or will going to assess the remember level of learning of my student, as well as the student will going to demonstrate conceptual knowledge. Let's have a look on the second learning outcome for this particular course. Critically evaluate the quality of research by others. So here the word evaluate come, and the critically, the child going to evaluate something, it will going to assess my evaluate level of learning. And here the child will going to perform certain steps, right? and the child will going to have certain kind of skills also. So this will going to assess, or the child will going to demonstrate procedural knowledge, right? Next example for this learning outcome for this particular course: formulate research questions designed to test, refine and build theories. If you look at this learning outcome, I have used the word formulate, and when the word formulate comes, it is nothing but assessing, or what I say, will going to make me understand that the child will going to reach to the creating level of thinking. So this formulate is nothing but creation, right? So this is the higher order thinking skill when I'm going to formulate this kind of learning outcome. Now if you're going to read it again: formulate research question designed to test, refine and build theory. Again here the child will going to perform certain kind of actions, will going to perform certain kind of skills, shall have a knowledge of particular procedure for doing this thing, and apart from it, this certain kind of skills the child going to acquire. So when I'm going to frame such kind of learning outcome, it will going to fall under the procedural knowledge. Next, identify and demonstrate. Again, like here I have used the word identify. When identifying is there, then understanding level of learning. And demonstrate, again demonstrate is going to apply something, right? So here in my same learning outcome, two levels of learning has been clubbed. One is the understanding level, another is the applying level of learning. And again here the child has to perform certain steps, the child going to acquire certain skills. That's why it's going to be put under procedural knowledge, right? Next level, next learning outcome: formulate a complete and logical plan for data analysis that will adequately answer the research questions and probe alternative explanation. See, in this learning outcome I have used the word formulate. Formulate is there, definitely you're creating level of learning, thinking skills going to be there. But at the same time, if you see, I have written logical plan for data analysis that will adequately answer the research question and probe alternative, because till here again I'm going to perform certain task, or I'm going to have certain skill. That's why it's going to demonstrate or it will going to fall in the procedural knowledge. But when I say probe alternative explanation, so probing is basically a kind of reflection, a kind of more deep knowledge. So that comes under your metacognitive knowledge. So if you see this level of learning over here, creating level of learning coming up in this learning outcome, but two type of knowledge at the same time will be demonstrated by the student if I'm going to frame such kind of learning outcome. Next is interpret research findings and draw appropriate conclusion. Again I have used the word interpret, and if you remember, interpret is a key word or action word which falls into understanding level of learning. So I have used the word interpret, your understanding level of, and draw appropriate conclusion, right? So basically again here is basically understanding is there, but when I say that the draw appropriate conclusion, again here is your metacognition knowledge will come, and because the child going to create something new, your creation also comes in, right? So the first part, interpret research finding, is your understand conceptual knowledge, your construct, your ideas only come up, right? But when it comes to your draw appropriate conclusion, it is some kind of creation, but you at the same time you're going to reflect on something. So when reflection is there, it is what metacognition knowledge. Then the last learning outcome which I have framed for this particular course is develop new theory based on the findings. So here again develop is there, so that means obviously the creating level of learning comes in. And when I talk of new theory based on the finding, again your metacognition knowledge. So my friends, I hope you able to understand when we are going to frame the learning outcome, which is ultimately going to based on my level of learning as well as the knowledge dimension which I want my child or my learner to demonstrate or to come up after completion of any particular course. So you can frame your learning objective this way, and in this learning outcome, if you can see here, all types of learning skills have been used as well as the all type of knowledge will be there. So now this is actually very important for as an educator. First and foremost, we need to have an understanding of how I'm going to frame the learning outcome. If you are teaching any particular subject, suppose if you are from the engineering background and you are taking different subjects, so as a educator, first and foremost, you need to understand what is the learning outcome of this particular course. If my student will going to complete BTech, MTech or any other course, what will be the learning outcome, or what this course expects the student to learn. So once I have a understanding of this, then I am going to use that learning outcome when it comes to your subject. When it comes to your subject, then accordingly you can relate your subject learning outcome with your course learning outcome, right? So this way you can formulate or you can draft your learning outcome, which is very simple. I think if you are going to take the help of Bloom's taxonomy, again the 6 levels of learning, remembering to understanding, and the knowledge dimension, that is nothing but factual to metacognition, then I think you able to frame your learning objectives effectively in your domain. So this was the learning outcome example which I have shown you for a particular course. Now I'm going to give you an example. If you are teaching any particular subject, suppose you are teaching social science to your students, any humanities subject you are teaching to your student, and there is a one topic named as global warming. Take an example, right? So here my topic is global warming. So for my topic, how I'm going to frame the learning outcome, right? And that learning outcome I have understood shall be based on my levels of learning and also on the basis of my knowledge dimension. So here step by step I will going to give you an example how you can frame learning outcome for your topic named global warming. First, define global warming. If you see again here, it is just my factual knowledge coming up, right? Facts and figures, very simple. Again, define what is there. So here what I'm using, I'm having a remembering level of learning. Second learning outcome for global warming, describe how global warming occurs. So can you tell me what type of learning levels I'm trying to develop among my student, or what kind of knowledge I'm trying to demonstrate, like what type of knowledge I want my students to acquire if I'm going to frame such kind of learning outcome for this topic, right? Describing, because here the word describe is there. What is that? Understanding, right? And because here again because the child now going to construct the knowledge again over here, that becomes your conceptual knowledge. Second, interpret the effect of global warming on environment. Look at the key word I have used, interpret. Just underline this. And when it comes to interpret, just tell me what kind of learning level here falls. Yes, what kind of learning level? Right, applying, because here the child going to apply the knowledge, apply the understanding part of global warming over here. So what kind of knowledge actually it's demonstrating? Demonstrating the conceptual knowledge. Fourth learning outcome for global warming, examine the role of government in reducing the effect of global warming. Again, here the key word or the action word is examine. So when the examine word comes, what kind of level of learning here? Analyzing. and what type of knowledge I'm expecting my child, my learner to demonstrate. That is procedural knowledge, because here the child going to again perform some kind of steps, going to use certain skills. Next level learning outcome. Justify how automobile industry being successful in reducing CO2 emission, right? So here the word is justify. So when the word justify is there, it is evaluating, because I'm going to judge it, I'm going to evaluate it, and then because here again I'm going to have certain kind of skills, I'm going to perform certain action, then your procedural knowledge comes in. The last learning outcome for this topic which I have framed is suggest measures to reduce global warming in local area. Now just tell me, now the word suggest is there, what kind of thinking skills or what kind of learning level my child, my student, my learner has reached? Yes, this is the highest order level of thinking, which is nothing but creating. So, and when it comes to creating, I expect my child to demonstrate metacognitive knowledge. I suggest or I expect my child, my learner, to demonstrate or to reflect upon something. So here my metacognitive knowledge comes in. So I hope now you have understood, when it comes to framing learning outcome, how important for the educators to understand the different levels of learning or the different thinking levels which as an educator which we need to develop among them. And once we going to develop that learning that thinking level skills among the students, then definitely I will also going to construct, I will also expect my student to acquire abstract knowledge. That means from factual to metacognitive knowledge. So here comes in. So my friends, whenever you are going to write learning outcome for your student, do understand these things. These are the major point which I think you as an educator need to understand and need to work upon. Then only we can develop the critical thinking among the students, the creativity among the students. Otherwise the students will just going to memorize, will just going to recall the information, and our students will remain at the lower level of thinking, or our students just acquire the concrete knowledge. We can take up our students to the abstract knowledge. We shall as an educator develop higher order thinking skills, that is HOTS, among our students, and that we can develop only if we have framed our learning outcome in a well defined way, in a statement form that clearly, and explicitly I'm talking of. I'm just emphasizing on word explicitly. Then only you shall able to know how I'm going to assess, because this level of learning and your knowledge only going to help you to plan learning activities and assessment for your students. Yes, my friends, your learning activities and your assessment all being depends upon the learning outcome. Now you must be thinking, how is it possible? How I am going to plan learning activities and assessments on the basis of this learning outcome? I'm going to give you an example for this also. So basically what I'm talking of, integration of learning activities and assessment on the basis of your learning outcome. So how are you going to do that? See, first part was a remember. Remember is nothing but just to retain, recognize and recall knowledge. So what kind of learning activities I can incorporate in my lesson or in when I'm going to deliver my content to the student. So here when I am working on the remember level, I'm working on the lower order thinking skills, on the memorization, the recalling part of my student, then I can use certain learning activities which are highlight keywords, graphic organizers, mnemonic strategies, data, videos and flowchart. Why I'm using these kind of learning activities when I am working on the remember part? Because these are the activities which will help the child to memorize. These are the activities which help the child to recall the information or to recall the content which I have taught to my students. And then coming to the assessment, what kind of assessment I can use? I'm sure most of you must be using only subjective type of assessment for your students. We have essay type test, we have long questions with us, but my friends, there are lots of types. There are different types of assessment which you can use. So what are those assessment type? You can have quizzes in your classroom, objective type questions and match. So this is how you can do. Next, understand. I hope you remember now. Understand is nothing but translate and interpret knowledge. So whatever the information, whatever I have recalled, now I'm going to interpret it. I'm going to comprehend it. So what are the kind of learning activities which I can use? I can use case studies. I can have demonstrations. I can have diagrams. I can have metrics activity. I can use play in my classroom, a kind of role play, summarize something, think, pair and share, which is a kind of collaborative activity or a kind of group learning. Now coming to assessments, what type of assessments I can take? I can create a summary. I can give presentation to my child. I can tell the child, okay, see, this is the paragraph or this is the content. Now create a summary for me. So again here, when the child going to create a summary, what the child is doing? Child is just interpreting the information. The child is comprehending the information or the comprehend the knowledge, in fact, not in fact information, the comprehend the knowledge which he has taken. I can have presentation because I get to know whether my child has understood that particular concept or not. I can have an essay. I can provide examples, okay, to my student. I can ask to provide few examples. Next important is apply. Applies must apply knowledge to different situations. So when I say apply knowledge to different situations, what are the type of learning activities which I can use in my classroom? Flipped classroom. Flipped classroom is basically you are changing the role of students and you only become a facilitator. Like if I know I'm going to teach a particular subtopic to my student, take an example of the global warming. I'm teaching global warming to my student and I gave certain kind of pre-reading activities beforehand. I gave them lots of PDFs, I give them a Word file, I have sent them a videos, I have sent them a podcast. Now I asked my student to just read those content which I have given to you, and once you enter in the classroom, then they're going to have a discussion among them. So here the role is being flipped. Now the student again going to come up with that content, will going to demonstrate the knowledge which he or she has acquired on the basis of those pre-reading material. And then as a teacher, as an educators, we are just now act as a role of facilitator. So that's the flipped classroom which we can use, because here what is again like your applying level of learning comes in. So you can have group work, you can have lab, experiments, map, problem solving tasks, creating example. Here the child going to like what kind of activities you're going to create some kind of examples over here. Tell the child to okay, create some examples. So these are the kind of learning activities which you can use. Demonstration, case study. Case study is in fact is one of the effective learning activity which you can use in your classroom when you are what I say, trying to develop applying skills. So the different learning activities which we can use in applying, again with the case study I just discussed, is the most effective type of activity which you can imbibe in your lesson plan, incorporate in your lesson plan. You can have role plays and presentation. So my dear friends, it's very important to understand learning outcome is not something which is isolated in nature, is not something which is compartmentalized, you know. It is basically something which is more integrated in your lessons, and which is basically a kind of framework which help you to plan your learning activities as well as your assessments. Yeah, coming back to apply, when we talk of assessments, we can have discussion board post, like we can tell the student, okay, let's have a discussion on this particular topic, so that we get to know whether the child or the learner has applied that knowledge into real life or not. Then we can have lab practice, reports, presentations, problem solving tasks. Problem solving task is very important because again it's directly related to my applying level of learning, because when the child going to solve any particular problem, then it will help me to understand whether the child has basically come to applying level of learning or not. Short questions you can use, test you can use, right? So basically these three cognitive domain, remember, understanding and applying, these were our lower order thinking skills. And on the basis of these cognitive domain, like on the basis of these three level of learning, which we have in fact written explicitly in our learning outcome, will also going to help us what kind of learning activities you can use. So basically in this slide I have given you a free, or I can say a kind of ready reckoner, which you as an educator can use when you are trying to develop, or when you plan to develop different levels of learning among your students. That's what I am trying to convey you. Okay, now our fourth level of learning was the analyze. Analyzing is nothing but break down information to look at relationship, right? So what kind of learning activities I can use over here? Analyzing, again here is the child will going to see the information in part first, and then try to compile those information together, and then try to understand what are the similarities, what are the dissimilarities among those elements, and also can find out the relationship, the cause and effect relationship. So this kind of level of learning also give us certain kind of learning activities which you can use in your lesson. So what are those learning activities? Here are few examples. You can use case studies, because case study, if you see, again directly it is related to analyzing only. As a teacher, you know, as an educator, we really need to peep into all these things, and first of all we need to have a clear understanding whether whatever the activities I'm using for my student really going to develop that level of learning or not. So we carefully examine all these things first of all, you know. Then is your compare and contrast. Obviously if you have a relationship, then you can have a compare and contrast activity, and this compare and contrast activity, you can use lots of diagrams, you can use tables, you can use graphic organizers over here. Though graphic organizer I have put in remember part also, but graphic organizer is nothing but it is a kind of visual representation. If instead of giving the information to the child in a statement form, I'm going to convert that information or that content, whatever I'm delivering, into some kind of visuals, into some kind of diagrams, then definitely it's will going to gain the attention of the students. Otherwise, if somebody is just giving, okay, this is that, I might lose the interest, I might lose the attention. But if something is being represented in a visual way, then definitely I'm going to hold my students and engage my students well in my classroom. Next, right, debates we can have, discussions, group investigations we can use, reports we can use, surveys we can use, questionnaire we can use, and mind mapping. So examine, try to understand the each and every learning activity is directly related to my learning level, right? So if you know what learning level I want my students to develop, then definitely you can plan the learning activities. Now assessment, very important. If I'll talk of analyzing, that's an analyzing paper. I can give 2-3 papers or 2-3 article to my students, and then ask my student to just analyze, okay, what are the finding of these particular articles, or what you have understood from this article. So, can you just find out any kind of relationship? Can you find out certain kind of cause and effect between or among this article? So I think instead of going with our conventional method of assessment, which is more based on subjective method, if we are going to use such kind of assessment, then definitely it will going to help us to understand whether my child has acquired the abstract knowledge or not, and ultimately whether my child is at the higher order level thinking skills. So that's very important. You can have case studies, you can have evaluation criteria, right? Evaluation criteria. I'm sure like in the higher education, we have, let's take an example, we are teaching leadership style to our students. So what we can do, like when we are teaching leadership style to our student, we can give a brief history or a brief sketch of that particular person to whom we want to discuss with our student, and then ask a student to just to evaluate, like on the basis of those brief sketch, which leadership quality you like most, and which leadership quality you really want you to have, So if I think instead of those conventional, we can have such kind of assessment method, that will definitely going to help the students. Critique, hypothesis we can have, procedures, research papers, review paper. So these are some of the learning activities assessment which we can use in analyze part. Next, interesting, evaluation. Evaluation is basically again a second last higher order thinking skill. So it is again making judgment based on evidence found. So what are all the learning activities I can use? I can have debates in my classroom, right? I can have compare and class. One thing more important, like you must have noticed, there are few learning activities which are overlapping. The compare and contrast, take an example. This learning activity I have used in applying and analyzing also. Why? Because this is something which is talking about relationship. So here I cannot develop one learning level of my child unless and until the child has not mastered the previous learning skills, the previous learning skills, and these all learning skills are integrated to each other. We cannot talk in terms of isolation, or we cannot say ki we are going to develop this kind of learning skills unless and until we're not going to integrate it. So that's very important. Pros and cons of something, right? So here again my judgment, my critique, my criteria will come up. Mind mapping. Mind mapping is nothing but a kind of concept mapping. Like suppose if I'm going to teach some kind of lesson to my student, now the child will going to evaluate something, So what the child will going to do, the child will going to make a schema in their mind and then try to understand, okay, how this relate to this, how this relate to this. So that's all activities going just in mind only. So that's a mental activity, So here what the child is doing, instead of putting something in a written form, the child is visualizing in his or her mind. That is mind mapping. Then review papers we have, talking of the assessments, very important. Augmentation or persuasive essay. So here what the child will going to do in this kind of essay, the child will going to evaluate, the child will going to judge whether this is right or wrong, or what shall be the criteria for this. Then provide alternative solution. If I'm going to give one problem to my child, to my learner, ask the child what could be the probable or what could be the possible solution for this problem. Like because nowadays we all are dealing with such pandemic where the COVID-19, has really impacted high on us. But if I'm going to develop this evaluation skills in my student, then I can ask what could the probable solution for this, so that we not being caught with that particular disease or in that particular situation. So I'm sure if you're going to have such kind of assessment, the students will come out with lots of possible solution, and most importantly the learning will be more active rather than passive learning. And if you have an active learning, if you engage the student, then definitely the student will love to be a part of your class. Then we have a debates, presentations and reports. So that's all the learning activities and assessment which you as an educator can plan, can use when you are assessing or when you are developing the evaluating skills among your students. Last higher order thinking skill is your create. Create is nothing but a kind of innovation, as the word itself describing, compile information or have a kind of new solution, right? So for this, what are the learning activities? You can have brainstorming, very important, brainstorming. Okay, I just give you a one problem to you. Now just brainstorm, just work on what could be the possible solution for this. You can have such kind of learning activity. You can take up any particular topic of your class which you want your students to teach. Instead of giving them all the possible solution, ask them what could be the possible solution for this. Let them an opportunity to just brainstorm, to just use their own mental activity. So this way definitely the thinking skills will be developed, and that too again the higher order thinking skill, that's a creation. Decision making task, develop and describe new solutions or plans, performances, presentation, research project and written assignment. So I'm sure if you're going to look at all these learning activities, directly or indirectly you can relate it to all the levels of learning. So as a teacher, I think you are the best judge of your class, and you know your students well, you know the strength, capability of your student, the potential of your student. So you are the leaders of your classroom. So being a leader, I shall be in a position to know what is effective, what shall I use, so that it will going to give me a wonderful results, right? Next, like what are the assessments we can have in creation? Develop criteria to evaluate products or solution. So again here, see, we have a possible ways to assess the performance or to assess the knowledge of my student. It's not just the subjective test. Again and again I'm emphasizing it. It's just not the subjective type of test or objective type of test. There are lots of modes, there are lots of ways in which you can assess the performance of your student, but at the same time it's all can be possible if you have framed your learning outcome effectively, well defined and in measurable term. So I hope you all have understood. So in this session what I have covered about how you can frame your learning objective if you are teaching a particular course. If you are teaching a particular topic, how you can frame your learning outcome. And once you have framed your learning outcome, you can categorize, you can classify your learning outcome on the basis of 6 levels of learning, starting from remembering to creating. And you can also describe, you can also write under which knowledge domain, under which knowledge dimension, it's being there. So you need to understand this. Now this is an activity part which I have planned for you. Based on this session, now create a study question using Bloom's cognitive taxonomy, in which you are going to use all the 6 levels of learning. You're going to write down the questions over here, and again you can also make one more column over here where you can put up the learning outcome, because on the basis of that learning outcome you can write down your question, right? And then you just need to put up under which knowledge dimension this particular assessment, this particular question falls. So I hope you people have understood what all the Bloom's taxonomy and how Bloom's taxonomy help us, aids us in framing the learning outcome, and on the basis of this learning outcome, how we can plan, we can prepare learning activities, and we can assess our students. And most interesting part not to forget, that was the action verb which was given by the Bloom taxonomy, which has been covered under different levels of learning. So I hope you all have understood. So that's all from my part. But I think before ending to this session, why don't I'm going to use one mnemonic strategy which in your classroom, or which as an educator will help you to memorize the 6 levels of learning. Can you recall with me what was those 6 levels of learning? That was remembering, right? Then understanding, then it was applying, fourth analyzing, then second last was evaluating and creating. Now you must have observed, when I was recalling all the 6 levels of learning, it just took some time. I gave a pause. But what about if I say, are you angry? All engineers or all educators are cool. Now look at the initial of all this. Like first what I say, like, are you angry? Are you first initial, angry, A. So that going to be that remembering, understanding and applying. Then all educators are cool. Initials of all these words, A, E, C. That means analyzing, evaluating and creating, right? And when it talks about the knowledge part, can you recall that? That was factual, conceptual, procedural and metacognitive. So when I take the initials of all these words, F, C, right, procedural, P, metacognition, M. So can I make any mnemonic from this which help me to recall? Right, I have one mnemonic for me. You can also use yours. That was, first come Prime Minister, then other ministers. First F, factual, come C, conceptual, Prime Minister, P, procedural, then other ministers, right? So that's a metacognition. So that's all about this session, and I hope you have lots of takeover from this session. And now after this session, you can frame learning objectives on the basis of Bloom's taxonomy. Thank you so much.